I want to know if there was a Superman and Lex
Careful.
team up
Yep.
of some kind, what would your theme song be?
Eyes up here.
Guys,
Hello.
this is the most perfect trio.
Thanks.
I think it's Neapolitan ice cream. Chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. That's my favourite.
Who's who?
No. He's not saying we're
my
Neapolitan.
favourite. That's my favourite trio.
I know.
This is better. Superman has it all: strength, kindness, even the one perfect curl. And I was wondering, is there a quality that you'd love to steal from each other?
As actors.
I'd like to steal the lifts out of Nick's shoes.
There's no lifts.
That half inch really makes
Sorely
all
disappointed.
the difference.
Okay, so I would steal David's ability to break apart scenes and assess scripts. He's very good at breaking apart scenes and then rebuilding them to improve them for every character involved. Rachel, I would take your ability of preparation, where you bring really wonderful ideas in terms of like the costume and sets and all these things. Rachel thinks on a really microscopic level about her character that then makes the overall performance really detailed, which I think is wonderful. Now you guys say something nice about me.
I would take your recklessness. I don't know whether you bring that to every role, but in watching you explore Lex
just
with James, it was interesting to hear, having not seen the film, hear somebody last night describe how sort of tight-lipped you were in the character and contained and I remembered that especially when we were shooting those first scenes, I remembered those takes, but then I also remembered the complete opposite takes where you were wild and your mouth was open the entire time. But watching you deliver this huge range for James to choose from and to explore, especially in the early days, I was very impressed by that, especially so early on when we hadn't gotten to know each other. It seemed very brave from the outside to do that.
That's kind of what I was going to say about you. I think I would steal Nick's sort of cheeky braveness. I feel like you have the ability to take really big swings, but from a really smart place. And even when you think you're being insane, couldn't possibly be ungrounded, and it's really spectacular to watch. And I would steal David's groundedness. I feel like you're so unflappable and focused, and David has this remarkable ability to sort of shut out the noise, but also be keenly aware of everything that's happening at the same time.
I could cry. This is adorable. I'd love to have a dual identity like Clark. What could you imagine another version of yourselves doing, and what would they be called?
I would be a pilot in an alternate dimension, and I'd be called Paul.
I love it.
Paul the pilot.
There's a film in there.
There's a kids' TV show.
Oh, come on. Very serious.
I would choose to be a pop star.
Oh.
I'd have like a Miley Cyrus dual identity, and I would like my name to be bestowed upon me by
What a
Nicholas.
strange name. Bestowed upon me.
It's not a bad.
Yeah.
Richard Harris.
Nothing can top Paul the pilot, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Paul the pop star.
Paul.
Paul the
Just say it
pop
twice.
star.
Paul.
Oh yeah, Paul.
That's good.
Paul.
Paul. I'd be called Simon, and I'd be a golf commentator.
Nice.
Absolutely
Yes,
perfect.
you would.
I can't wait for these guys to meet as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how prepared you guys are for the fan edits, because there's going to be many. Could you guys choose songs for each other's fan edits?
Luther, Kendrick Lamar.
How about for each other's?
Oh.
Selfish.
Very Lex of him.
Yeah. You first. I mean,
what-
yours is just John Williams. I feel like it's just John Williams.
I don't
on
think
John
that
Williams.
works very well for a fan edit, though, does it?
I think it
fan edits
does.
are like the really where they cut a bunch of stuff together.
They
and...
are, but I think it still works.
Great. I'll never argue with Williams.
Maybe a Hannah Montana one.
Yeah,
Pop star
for
Miley.
sure. Best of both worlds. You know?
I can see that working. I'll make them.
Thank you. No, you know what? There's a fan edit for Lois in Jolene by Dolly Parton. No, give it to me.
No, I was just going down the Miley Cyrus rabbit hole of Hannah Montana. And then what's the
plan.
flowers song?
Oh, I could buy myself flowers?
Yeah, that feels a little
Is it
bit
flowers? Is that
empowering.
what it's called? Yeah.
Recently, you've come under a lot of fire for
I
what
know,
some
it's a
might.
lot of
it's
fire,
it's a
but-
lot.
Clark's a big fan of the Mighty Crabjoys, and I was wondering which artist, speaking of music, were you guys obsessed with growing up?
Tina Turner.
Really? Yeah. Ooh, the Spice Girls.
I had a feeling you were going to say Spice Girls.
Who wasn't?
Which Spice Girl are you?
I was a baby Spice. I feel like I'm becoming more of a ginger as I get older.
Interesting.
And Posh Spice.
You're
I
posh.
once
You've
was in a
always been
car
posh.
crash dressed as Posh Spice.
What?
That's a true story.
Need to hear more about that
Yeah,
later.
my mate Georgie you met last night was dressed as Baby. He was driving.
It was mostly musical theater show tunes. I was a big Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers fan. I liked Singing in the Rain, so like, but that's not
As
really.
like a
the-
9-year-old?
Oh yeah. That was what we
checks
watched
out.
growing up. West Side Story, I loved listening to.
That was me growing up as well.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Crypto stole my heart in this.
Yeah.
David, characters aside, who would you trust the most out of Nick and Rachel to look after him?
Rachel.
I gotta go with Nick on that one.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rachel's a pushover when it comes to dogs.
That's
She
true.
just finds them too adorable.
True.
And
My
Nick
kryptonite.
hates dogs.
You actually strike me as more of a cat guy.
Oh,
No.
Really?
No.
No.
what a rude
Yeah,
thing to
you're
say.
a dog person. You're a cat guy.
I love cats. My cats were called Fred and Ginger growing up.
Oh,
Of course they
of
were.
course they were. It's all making sense.
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman.
Rachel, because you're basically a journalist now, is there a question that hasn't been asked about this film that you think should be asked?
Honestly, no. I feel like at this point,
You're like,
covered
I've done it
this
all.
far into the tour, I think we've heard just about everything. No. I want to know if there was a Superman and Lex
Careful.
team up
Yep.
of some kind. What would your theme song be? Like, what music would play over your team up?
Us combined.
Yeah, Clicks.
Boys are back in town.
That's not bad.
You nailed it.
Great.
Nailed it. There's the answer. Thank you guys so much, and huge congrats on this movie.
Thank
Lovely
you
to
very
meet you.
much.